Welcome to the I'm Perfectly Divine podcast, a place for the strong, sensitive, spiritual seeker to recognize the perfection of your human journey as a pathway to remembering your dis. My work is to bridge both the emotional and spiritual worlds through proven and grounded frameworks that support you to live in the wholeness you already are. For over the past 2 decades, I have supported people from all around the world, as well as Fortune 500 companies, to dissolve the divisions within them and live with greater empowerment and love. This podcast is an exploration of the paradoxes that befuddle us as we live our lives being both human and divine. Together, you and I, along with other experts, will navigate integrating psychology and spirituality, the divine feminine and the divine masculine, the darkness and the light, to create greater sacred union from within. I believe through your remembering that you are innately divine, that you will allow yourself to more openly shine. So let's get to it, because your unique light is needed more than ever. Welcome back to I'm Perfectly Divine. I'm here with you with another Alchemical Illumination Portal, which is really designed to open a doorway into deeper work through my Sacred Alchemy series, which is free to you. So the concept that I want to bring forward, and then you can decide if you want to go deeper, is this notion about freeing ourselves from our human cage. And there's something about that visual that's pretty profound, but I want to get into that a bit because it can very easily be misunderstood. So and the best way to explain it is by first starting with what I'm not saying, which is that being human is like living in a cage. I don't believe that that is true. I think that so many people believe that our spirit is somehow trapped and limited by being human. And I think these are residuals from our tendency to always want to ascend based on the hero's journey, which I talk more about in episode 2 of Sacred Alchemy. So we're not just meant to ascend. And I don't believe that our spirit is trapped. I believe there's an opportunity that is uniquely given to us by being human. And so I believe that our physical form is the way that the divine gets to express love through matter or the physical realm. And it's experienced in such a way that it is felt, and that when we feel it, it becomes embodied within our hearts, which is the whole point, because this is how our hearts create a different frequency that can change consciousness. And so the human cage isn't about our physicality, about being human, about the notion that, our spirit feels that it can fly, but our human physical bodies can't. It's how do I access that feeling of freedom that comes from this visual of being able to fly and bring it into form, which is this unlimited expression of the divine that is freely flying through us. And to get there, we want to recognize, or the invitation is to recognize, that the cage is really our projection of life that is coming through our mind, that is either working for us or against us. And rather than mind, I guess I would say consciousness, and what our consciousness is about ourselves and our life. Now, I just watched a very interesting reel from Dr. Sue Morter, and she is so good at explaining consciousness. And one of the things that she talks about is how consciousness is it's an inherited, agreed upon reality. And I love that definition. And this is, for the most part, agreed upon as we come into human form about what it means to be human collectively. And I completely agree with this. And this is something that I speak about in episode one. How, as children, we are basically learning what it means to be human because we are still so connected to our eternal essence, to the spiritual realm and its unlimited expression of the divine. But some of the things we pick up on as we learn what it means to be human tend not to be for our highest good or the highest good of humanity. It's again that what Dr. Sue Morter is calling the agreed upon inherited projections. And how I see that is these agreed upon inherited projections are the unprocessed fear that we have taken on as truth about life and about ourselves that collectively continues to be passed down. And so the problem is that the more you believe this to be true, the more you are reinforcing this projection of your reality. So this is why when people, you know, say, I can't trust people, or, you know, life isn't fair, or I got the short stick over here, or I'm always anxious, or I never measure up at work, whatever it is, the more you say that, especially with the I am consciousness, the more you are unknowingly reinforcing that that's what you are going to create and project through you. And therefore, it's what you see in your reality. It's what you experience in your reality. You are proclaiming it over and over. And the more this happens, and on top of it, you likely have a lot of these notions because of your environment and because of the people around you. It's like this super reinforcement that we all like, yeah, that's reality, that's life, that's how things are, when it doesn't have to be. So this is what I mean by the human cage. It's not being human yourself, because the gift is that we get to change our consciousness. And science is showing us that we can change the projection. It's what spirituality, I think, has been showing us all along, that we have power to shift consciousness. So the question is, can we just make a decision to do that? Sometimes. But in order for most of us to be able to really do this on a subconscious level where it becomes our nature, just like it's not something we're fighting, we're trying to, just keep reiterating and reiterating affirmations, which, there's a beauty to that. But this goes back to how much are we using our consciousness consciously it's like 5%. And so 95% of the time it's our subconscious running the show. And so this is where we really want to be able to shift things subconsciously. So in order to do this is what I call that we need to clear our own energetic field of these inherited aspects that simply aren't true. And if we don't, the consciousness that comes forward will unconsciously still be distorted through the cage of our own unprocessed fears. And it really is like seeing life through bars. And it reminds me of an Asian philosopher, Osho. I'm not sure the philosopher, but it's an image of someone standing behind a gate, not recognizing that the gate that they're holding onto in the bars that they're so desperately trying to get out of is unlocked. And you just gotta pull the gate, or turn the key and go through the gate. And so this is really interesting because, again, in sacred alchemy, I'm going through the three realms of manifestation, and that there are gateways into these different realms of consciousness. And so it takes a different realm of consciousness to stop seeing the bars and stop buying into the bars as this is reality, and instead be able to free your consciousness, which is going to come from more of your heart, to be able to perceive the field and the potentiality without these bars. And so, again, the work for the majority of us is to clear our own energetic field. And we do this, and this is a part of the big work of the heroine's journey that we all can potentially go on if this is something that your soul has called you to do. And in this process, the emptier you become, the clearer your energetic vessel is. And by empty, I'm not saying from a sense of lack. The emptiness that you've worked hard to clear in your field becomes your potential, and the potential of the universe to work through you with greater and greater ease, because there's less distortions in your energetic field. So if you are interested in the process of what it looks like to free yourself further from the human cage of a certain level of consciousness and open that gate, go through that threshold, I invite you to join me and learn more about the 3 realms of manifestation that is in my Sacred Alchemy series. So I will have the link in the show notes, and there will be a link for it on my homepage at michelleburcell.com. So again, it's free, and it just takes this much deeper. So I hope to see you there. I hope this illumination portal gives you something to think about how we can see ourselves trapped because of a certain perception, and there is another perception waiting for us that is right there, ready to free us. To get there, it's not about fixing anything. So know that there is nothing to fix, but just to remember. I'll see you next time.
I am so honored you have joined me today. If you enjoyed the I'm Perfectly Divine podcast, subscribe so you don't miss any of our power-filled episodes. Also, if you know another who is strong, sensitive, and spiritual and wants to dive deeper into emotions and ancient wisdom so they too can create profound peace and fulfillment from within, please share this podcast. Thank you again for joining me, and I look forward to reconnecting with you soon.